So also breaking right now, Prime Minister Boris Johnson and French President Emmanuel Macron calling Russia's actions a blatant attack on freedom and democracy. That happened moments ago as we await Treasury Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, alongside Ukraine's foreign minister following this appeal at the United Nations last week.
This crisis directly affects every member of this council and every country in the world. Because the basic principles that sustain peace and security, principles that were enshrined in the wake of 2 world wars and a Cold War, are under threat.
The Russian-Ukraine conflict threatening to plunge the world order alignment with Russia and China potentially into a position of power over the West. Let's bring in Nigel Farage, former European Parliament member and UK Independence Party leader, now a host at GB News. Nigel, good to have you with us today. There's a piece in the Wall Street Journal by Jerry Baker, that the title of which is How the U.S. and Europe Lost the Post-Cold War. As you look at all of this, what does this moment in history look like potentially?
What we're seeing could be a repeat of, say, 1936. You know, that was the time when Nazi Germany was adding territory. And in the early days, they argued, well, these are German-speaking people in the Sudetenland and elsewhere. But of course, we know ultimately the ambitions of that regime were to take over the whole of Europe and to be the dominant power in the world. The similarity here, of course, is that in 2008, Putin took a chunk of Georgia. Go back to 2014, he took the Crimea. And overnight, you know, he's recognized the independence and basically, effectively, claimed sovereignty over 2 provinces in the east of Ukraine. So they're the similarities, you know, piece by piece, building. I don't think Vladimir Putin for 1 minute wants to storm France and Germany and the UK. There's no way that's his ambition. So that's the difference between now and the 30s. The difficulty is he wants to build old Tsarist imperial Russia. That's his dream. And the complication is this. The vast majority of people in those 2 provinces in eastern Ukraine speak Russian and feel more Russian than Ukrainian. So this is not straightforward. It's not easy. I think that what the West has to do is to put down its absolute red line. And I suppose to some extent today, Joe Biden did do that by reiterating American commitment to NATO. But I'm afraid the sanctions that have been put in place today are weak, and the West begins to look pretty impotent, frankly.
Well, you know, I mean, according to our reporters on the ground, 60% of Ukraine considers itself nationalist Ukraine. There's no doubt that there are pockets and people in Ukraine who consider themselves more Russian. But, you know, according to that reporting, the majority of people in Ukraine do not consider themselves part of Russia. We also have had this interesting dance going on with the question of NATO and the missiles along the border there, that some people think we never should have added those countries to NATO after the Cold War. But just to remember this moment with President Obama and Medvedev, where he made a promise. Watch this.
This is my last election, basically. Yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah.
I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir.
And a pat on the arm and a promise to perhaps move away some of those missiles from the border at that point. Nigel.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, we have made, for the last 30 years, some big geopolitical errors. The ever westwards expansion of both NATO and the European Union has been seen by many Russians to be provocative, to be encircling, and Putin has managed to use that to mobilize Russian opinion, to say, hey, these guys are threatening us. They're threatening Russian-speaking people in other countries. So, yes, we've got a lot wrong, and we did start much of this. The question now is, what on earth do we do next? Your statistics are right. There is a big majority in the Ukraine in favor of Ukrainian independence, and we have to do our best to help them with equipment, with support. Of course we do. But I'm just saying the complexity of this is those 2 provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk, are overwhelmingly Russian-speaking, and that's what makes this actually quite difficult.
And Vladimir Putin has let them down economically. After the democratic period of Russia began, that those dreams were never realized. And so now we see a stronger fist in terms of retaking old Russia, as you point out. Nigel, thank you very much. Great to have you with us today.
You.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.